Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to you. Today, we're going to dive into something really special. 5 verses from Surah Al Imran in the Quran. Now, these verses came down during a really tough time. But what's incredible is that they offer a powerful, timeless blueprint for how to be resilient no matter what life throws at you.
You know that feeling, right? Where you're trying to do everything by the book, play it straight, but you look around and it just feels like the people who are cutting corners are the ones getting ahead. Well, that exact feeling of confusion, that sense of doubt, that's precisely what the community was feeling when these verses were revealed.
So, let's set the scene. We're talking about the aftermath of the Battle of Uhud. It was a huge blow for the early Muslim community. They were grieving, they were shaken, and to make matters worse, they saw their opponents celebrating, heading home victorious and wealthy. You can just imagine the questions swirling around. Why are we suffering while they're thriving? It was a real crisis of faith.
And it's this crisis, this really human question of why them and not us, that the Quran addresses head-on. It doesn't sweep it under the rug. Instead, it starts with a profound lesson on how to shift our entire perspective, to look beyond the here and now.
The very first piece of advice is a direct warning. It's like Allah is saying, hey, don't be fooled. Don't be tricked by the apparent success you see, their wealth, their power, their freedom to move about. It's a bit of an illusion, you know? It's not a sign of my favor. What you're seeing isn't the whole story, not by a long shot.
Okay, so if what we see on the surface is the illusion, then what's the reality? Well, this is where the Quran presents this incredibly stark contrast. It lays out 2 completely different paths, 2 very different endings, and in doing so, it forces us to completely rethink what success even means.
And here they are, side by side. Path A is called a small enjoyment. It's temporary, it's limited, and its final destination is, well, a wretched resting place. But then you've got Path B. This is the promise for the righteous. We're talking about a reward from God that is eternal, a home in beautiful gardens, a reality that never, ever ends.
So after kind of tearing down this false idea of success, the Quran then builds up this beautiful, vivid vision of hope and justice. It goes into detail about the incredible reward that's waiting for those who keep Allah at the forefront of their minds.
I mean, just try to imagine hearing these words after the defeat at Uhud. It would have been such a powerful comfort, a reminder that all their struggles and sacrifices were not for nothing. The promise wasn't just for some abstract concept, it was for an eternal home, a personal accommodation directly from Allah Himself. That's something so much greater than any treasure on earth.
And this phrase right here, this is the bottom line. It's the ultimate takeaway that just completely realigns your priorities. What's truly, truly best isn't what we can collect and hold in our hands in this life. It's what is waiting for us with Allah.
But just when you think the lines have been drawn clearly, believers over here, disbelievers over there, the Quran does something fascinating. It adds this crucial piece of nuance, warning us not to fall into a simplistic us versus them trap.
Verse 199 makes it crystal clear that among the people of the Scripture, so we're talking about Jews and Christians, there are genuinely sincere believers. It's this powerful call to recognize goodness and faith wherever you find it. And just look at the qualities that are praised here. They're universal virtues, right? Believing in God, respecting revelation, both theirs and ours, being humble, and having integrity. This verse is all about building bridges, about recognizing the shared values that connect different communities of faith.
So, after shifting our perspective on success and reminding us about the importance of unity, the passage closes with this final, incredibly powerful verse. This is the action plan. This is the what to do now. It's a clear 4-part blueprint for how to achieve real, lasting success.
But before we can even get to the blueprint, we have to understand the foundation it's all built on, and that is the concept of Taqwa. Now, this is often translated as fear of God, but it's so much more than that. Think of it as a constant God consciousness, a deep mindfulness that guides every single thing you do. It's the true root of all strength.
All right, here it is, the 4-step formula. First, isbiru, be patient, persevere through your own personal struggles. Second, sabiru, endure and outlast the opposition. You see the subtle shift? It goes from inner patience to outward steadfastness against others. Third, rabitu, remain stationed, stand guard, protect the community. And finally, ittaqullah, tie it all together by constantly maintaining that foundation, that consciousness of Allah.
And what's just so powerful here is that this formula for success isn't just about getting into paradise later.
No, it's a guide for building a strong, stable, and resilient community right here, right now. It's a holistic vision for success in this life and the next. It covers the whole shebang.
So, these verses, revealed over 1,400 years ago, leave us with a question that feels incredibly modern. In a world that is obsessed with short-term wins and temporary gains, this timeless blueprint forces us to stop and really think, what does lasting success truly mean to you?